join the League of Women Voters if you're interested. It's very, very good organization. Just a little history, and you probably have seen this. This is the 100th anniversary of most women in the US getting the right to vote. That did not include women of color, indigenous women. That occurred later. But in 1920, women, white women, pretty much, got the right to vote. And let me say a bit now about the League and what we work to do. We work very hard to grow, empower, and protect the vote. And in doing that, we grow the vote by registering voters. Some of you may have actually been registered to vote at a citizenship ceremony, or we go to other places. We were at Edina High School in the last month to register seniors who will be 18 by the general election, November 3rd. So we do a lot to get more people voting. We empower the vote by giving opportunities like the candidate forums. If you live in Edina, you can go to, well, you can go there even if you don't live in Edina, but the candidate forums that are currently on our website are for the Senate and House, Minneapolis Senate and House, Minnesota Senate and House, and the City Council for Edina and the mayor. So I think that's what we do. And we also give information about things like gerrymandering, things that impact the vote. And then lastly, we protect the vote. And that means protecting the vote of all people, not those that are in power or whatever. It's just to protect the vote for all people. We are nonpartisan, so that you know. That means we do not endorse or oppose any party or candidate. We definitely look at all sides of the issue, but we do take stands. We conduct studies and so forth of things that are important to us at the local or at the state or the national level. An example of a study would be one on alcohol, tobacco. That was something that we did, and part of that had an influence on making tobacco 21 the law across the state. So I think it's important to know that we are not partisan, and we really welcome every person to, well, I shouldn't say every person. Anyone that's 16 years old or older is more than welcome to join the League. The League of Women Voters Edina website, which has lots of information on it, is lwvedina.org. And I wanted to mention, we do a strategic plan every year. We update it, and we have 3 goals for this, that we established in the summertime. One, and I'm going to read it so I don't misstate, is to be a civic leader in local, state, and national issues for making democracy work for all. Second, advocate and participate in local action to eradicate discrimination and systemic racism. And third, to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in all League activities. I hope you see that we really focus on doing the best for all. So that is, that's a little bit about the League. And I see that Vaishali is on the line as well. Hi. And we are going to talk a little bit now about voting. And if there's time, we'd be more than happy to answer questions you might have. At this time, you can vote absentee. And if you have not requested your absentee ballot, you can still do that. I would encourage you to do that very quickly if you haven't already requested an absentee ballot. And to do that, you can get an absentee ballot one of 2 ways. you can go to mnvotes.org, which is the Secretary of State's website, and request an absentee ballot there. Or you can go to, in Edina City Hall, and in other areas you need to check where you would go, but you can pick up an absentee ballot there. And then you can either mail it in or take it back in Edina to City Hall, where there's a drop-off for absentee ballots. And let me give you kind of a little example of what I did. My husband and I requested our absentee ballots when we requested our absentee ballot for the primary. Our ballots, and if you go to mnvotes.org, you can see all this information about your ballot progress, Our ballots were mailed on September 22nd. They arrived at our house the 26th. On the 29th, I took his ballot to the mail to get it mailed in, and I took mine to Edina City Hall to just hand it in. I wanted to see how it worked. And my ballot, which was taken to Edina City Hall on the 29th, was recorded in the Secretary of State's information on September 29th. And it said, your vote will be counted. It has not been counted yet. And it didn't say it has not been counted yet, but I know it has not. His ballot, which was mailed on the 29th, was received at the Secretary of State's office on the 30th, and got the same message, your vote will be counted. So I would say you can certainly vote absentee. You can go into a place to vote now. As I said, in Edina, it's Edina City Hall. You can go there. It is very, very safe. They have hand sanitizer. You're required to wear a mask, 6 feet social distancing, and so forth. They're doing everything they can to make this a very safe election. Vaishali, would you like to tell them your experience?
Yeah. So I went in yesterday to cast my vote, and they gave me, it's almost like taking an in-person absentee ballot. So you enter there, they give you a hand sanitizer, a clean pen, you pick up your absentee ballot, and then you walk to an inside room where they check your identity card, and then you have a booth. You just go mark your choices, and there were some total of 3 people there when I was there. So you will be in and out in about 15 minutes if you know whom you want to vote for and that you're ready to vote. And then early voting in Edina starts on the 27th of October. So that's when you won't need that absentee ballot. You would just go and walk in and do your just straight ballot. But this was an absentee ballot that they give you right now, and you go in and you fill it out for them. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Yeah, and safe.
And very important. I mean, you know, this is this is definitely a very important election, and as are all elections, whether they're general or primary or, you know, kind of a presidential or a state election, whatever. It's very important to vote, and that's what we really encourage. I'm sorry.
Do you have a question, Rashi? Unmute.
You are muted, Rashi. Rashi, you need to unmute.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that.
We can't hear you, Rashi. So until Rashi comes back, actually, I also wanted to say I did absentee in-person voting last week by going into City Hall. And I would like to add to all the information that you just said that you need your driver's license or Minnesota state ID and last 4 digits of your social security number if you are going in and doing the absentee voting in person, because those are the things. Even when you take the ballot, they will ask you the last 4 of your social security number. So just wanted to add that.
Thank you. And you need one of those 3 things, I understand. And when you, if you applied for an absentee ballot earlier, and for example, I put my last 4 of my social security number, that is the number you need to put on your absentee ballot envelope. If you haven't voted absentee yet in through the mail or handing it in, you have a manila envelope, which is, I think it's called the security envelope. And then you have a white envelope that you must sign and put that number, whether it's Minnesota driver's license or your social security number, last four, or identification number. And one thing that you need to know, this year, you do not have to have a witness unless you are just registered around the same time. So you don't need to have a witness signature. If you do need a witness signature, that needs to be a Minnesota voter. And the reason they waived that is that because they expected so many people to vote absentee, and because of COVID, they didn't want someone that lived alone to have to go find someone to sign their ballot. So that was done this year. Thank you. Did the other person have a chance to ask her question?
There she is. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if you can hear me. Can you?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can? Okay. So just adding to what Siley said, the piece of identification. And the other thing is, like, I don't know, I probably didn't know in last few elections how it was done, but this year you can actually track your ballot, where it's been and where, it hasn't been counted, which is really cool because, you made a difference. So that's something that, you can really be proud of.
Exactly. And so, they will start counting the absentee votes that have been received 14 days before the election.
Yeah.
And one thing that I'd like to stress, if you do have an absentee ballot, again, I would send it in early, but as long as it is postmarked by November 3rd, it will be counted. Now, there is some back and forth on when does it have to be received. Currently, the date that it needs to be received by through the mail is November 10th. I know that some state legislators are against that and have sued or something to have that changed to be November 5th or 6th, but that hasn't been resolved. There are a few things that are unresolved in partial, there may even be more between now and then. An example of one of the unresolved things is in Congressional District 2, where Angie Craig is the incumbent. One of their candidates, one of the major party candidates, died. And the Minnesota law says that then you put the election off until February. But Angie Craig's office is involved in a lawsuit to say, no, you have to have the election November 3rd. So that is what they're telling people. If you happen to live in that district, vote for the candidate that you want, and hopefully either it will be counted or they'll have another election afterwards. I don't know if anyone is in that district, but that is that's an odd thing.
So Colleen, also will you speak about the change in the age, the 17-year-olds that are just turning 18 that you told me yesterday?
Oh yeah, about the anyone that turns 18 by November 3rd is eligible to vote in this election. They can go register to vote, and they can register online as well. I would encourage them probably to go to City Hall to register, but you can vote as long as you are 18 by November 3rd. And actually, some of those high school seniors that we registered were not 18 yet, but since they're 18 by November 3rd, we handed their paperwork in. And it was interesting. Most of them wanted to fill out the paper form because you can do it online, but I was kind of surprised. I would have expected that age group would have been, oh yeah, we'll just do it online. But it was really encouraging. They were so interested in doing it, and they were so appreciative of the league being sitting outside of Edina High School registering voters, which was really nice.
Yeah, I heard that many young people will be sending a piece of mail for the first time this year as a part of their ballot. So that
Ballot.
really, yeah, makes sense. They are really excited. So thank you, Colleen. Does anybody else in the group have any questions or comments? No, I think Colleen and Vaishali, you did a great job of explaining things. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us
Thank
all
you
the
for
information.
inviting us.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting.
Yes, thank you very much. And you have a good day.
Thank you.
You